What's up, guys? So today we're going to be watching MMO Bytes video on the state of the MMORPG genre right now, and this was actually done via an interview with our boy Asmongold. So yeah, I actually already watched this video beforehand, and initially I did not intend to make a video about it, but they raised some really cool points along the discussion, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and I want you guys to also hear my own opinions about this topic. So let's dive right in.
Just looking at that purely from an analytical point of view, there are dozens.
They've got to get one, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, they can't up all 40 games, right?
Surely they can't do that.
Well, if they do,
know.
there are no doubt going to be more opportunities, right?
Yeah, there'll be 40 more next year.
Is the MMORPG genre dying, stagnating? What's the MMO landscape going to look like a year or two from now? Are predatory mobile and gacha business tactics ruining our future? Asmongold and I took about 40 minutes to sit down and discuss all of this and more. I think that right now the genre is in a bit of a precarious state. I think cross-platform mobile MMOs are becoming much more prominent. PC MMOs, actually quality PC MMOs, are kind of fading into obscurity a little bit. As someone that is
To be fair, even though we do have a lot of these cross-platform PC mobile MMOs coming, there are actually a lot of good high-quality MMOs that are still coming out. To be fair, it's not all that bad, I think, personally.
As well versed as yourself in the MMO genre, I was curious where you think
the thing is, I don't think it was any different in the past. So in the past we had a lot of shitty MMOs. So yeah, I don't really think, actually I think it's a lot better now. The thing is, in the past, the reason we would stick to just one single game is because there weren't really that much choices, right? So most people would just play WoW or whatever the game, whatever game they were playing, whatever game they enjoyed. So yeah, now it's so much different. There's so much games to choose from. There's so much MMOs to choose from, albeit not all of them being really good. Like, some of them are okay, they're all right. They're playable. You can invest your time in it and be happy for that time invested. But again, it's not true for all MMOs. But I'm just saying, I would say the state of MMOs today is somewhat better than it was before. Personally, my personal opinion only.
Currently at, what your thoughts are on the state that we're in, typically?
I feel like, really, I mean, and this is what's happening with gaming in general, right? Is that people love graphics. Graphics are important and they matter, and everybody loves good graphics. But the truth is that what matters a lot more than graphics is gameplay, and
So yeah, more than graphics, gameplay does really matter. But I think they're both pretty much on the same spectrum these days. Graphics do matter a lot though. And but in gameplay, how do I say this? Gameplay is a bit of a finicky topic because some people like turn-based, but I guess it's not more on the genre of gameplay, but it's more on the polish of gameplay, right? I think Asman is talking more about the polish rather than the type of gameplay.
Mobile games have core gameplay loops and actually fundamentals down, in a lot of cases better than these PC games do.
That's true. So I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I still hate mobile games and gacha games in general, but I can't deny that they do play well. They are actually good games, gameplay wise. And the reason that I hate mobile and gacha games is not because of the gameplay itself. It's not even because of the gacha. It's because of the mechanics that come with being a gacha game and a mobile game. So I think that's really the main takeaway here.
I think it's not really a matter of like PC games being like not popular anymore. I think it's a matter of the PC developers being not very good.
That's true. All right, let's just play this out before I can give my comment. Oh, it's one of two. Oh man, I wanted to give my comment, but then alright, let's just wait this out. Is that Mike Tyson? What the fuck? Is this a... Yeah, I think this is a blockchain. This is NFTs. Let's let it play. Because I want to support MMO Byte. I don't want to skip the ad. Final form. I don't like card games. I mean, I do like Yu-Gi-Oh, but you know, I don't really
Anymore.
Okay, so where were we? Yeah, it's because wait, okay, let's actually go back a bit.
Anymore. I think it's a matter of the PC developers being not very good at.
So that one, the reason like probably the reason like most people say that PC MMOs are not as popular because they don't have that same quality anymore that how do I say this? You know, PC games have a lot of bugs now, and like in most cases, even like how do you say this? Like mobile games have more polish than PC games. Like, you know, they have all that stuff that should be in a PC game. So I think Asmon is right to say here that it is partly the developer's fault.
Anymore. And also like making a PC MMO that's like the same quality, and they have them, right? There's like PAX Day that's coming out.
Yeah,
I'm sure the Riot MMO will probably be PC based.
It's what I was saying. There are MMOs, there are good quality MMOs that exist and are still in development as well.
So it's not like they don't exist. It's just that there's so much more of an undertaking that oftentimes, like, you know,
fuck?
just for whatever reason, they're not as good as they could be.
Do you think mobile games are are more of a detriment to the development of MMOs though? Because there are arguably more mobile MMOs that are announced each year. Mobile MMOs typically follow the same formula. They're all kind of just copy and paste. They're, you know, auto path, auto play, flashy looking, but really inferior overall to PC MMOs. And I feel like, I mean, I think I've covered like 12 mobile MMOs announced in the last 6 months. And I think like one PC MMO. So.
Well, it's like they're
So my take on this is that, so the question is, are they a detriment? So if we keep them separate, I think it won't be a problem, but the problem is crossplay, right? Cross-platform. When you create a cross-platform between a mobile game and a PC game, it's going to conform to the mobile game. So like that means like a lot of like mobile game development stuff is going to like carry over basically and take over the whole game. So like the UI and like what do you call this? All the mechanics, like yeah, all the gotcha-ish, mobile-ish mechanics that really annoy players, they're gonna come in if you like try to cross-platform between a PC and mobile game. So they're going to conform to the mobile. I don't really care about autoplay, auto-pathing. In fact, I love auto-pathing. Autoplay is more of a gray area. I don't really care if usually autoplay, you can't really use it for endgame, right? If you want to do endgame content, you still need to like play it manually. You can't just autoplay everything. Usually autoplay is for like AFK farming. It usually you earn a lot less in-game resources when you're doing auto stuff. That's usually what it is. So yeah, I think if it's made in a cross-platform sense, if they are developed more in a cross-platform sense, I guess they are going to be a detriment, in the sense that, you know, the mobile mechanics are going to be in there instead of the usual PC mechanics that we have.
Easier to make, right? Because all you have to do is copy paste. I mean, shit, it makes perfect sense that people are going to want that, right? I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of normal whenever you think about it. Yeah, sure. Like, I think the reason why a lot of people like those types of MMOs is because they're easy to get into, easy to play, and
True.
also like they're easy to get out of as well. Like a lot of people play those for a small period of time and then they just quit them and that's it.
So
So
yeah, that's really the whole like idea of mobile games, right? They're intended for like short bursts of time, and that's where the companies come in and, oh hey, we can monetize this because we can put this like crazy mechanic that will take a lot of time, but then the people who want to play our games don't have a lot of time, so they're gonna be forced to like pay the money to like skip those things, right? So that's where the problem is. Like, it's the mechanics that they coerce us to, like, to pay up to skip them because they're a nuisance. They do it on purpose so that we pay up.
So I think that really like the PC MMOs and the mobile MMOs, it doesn't really matter to me like which platform it's on if the game is good. And I think that's really where a lot.
Okay, so that's actually one of the points that really, like, how do I say it? That opened my mind up a bit. Like, he does have a point in the same way that I treat pay to win games. Like, it doesn't matter if a game is paid to win as long as it's good, because if I like look at my history, I've never quit a game because it was paid to win. I've quit a game because it was bad, it was boring, there was nothing to do, like all that. I never quit a game because it was paid to win. I never gave a shit, honestly.
Lot of people stand is that if a game is good and it's fulfilling, it's fun to play, they're going to play it, and if it's not, they're not going to play it. Like, they're going to dislike
Yep.
it. Doesn't matter if it's PC or mobile or anything, right? You see that with Genshin Impact, for
That's true,
example,
like-
or Honkai Star Rail, is that there's a lot of people that play it on PC and there's people that play it on mobile as well, and the common denominator is the quality of the game, not necessarily the platform. Because like a lot of these like phones, I mean, fuck, man, I'm pretty sure a phone now has better like processing power than almost a computer did in 2004 whenever WoW came out.
Oh,
Yeah, that's-
So like,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah, phones are getting way better in general. So I feel like the difference between the two is probably going to become smaller. But the problem is that also like phone MMOs have like they have like a really bad reputation for being like super pay to win.
That's because
Yep,
the majority of mobile MMOs are also
They are,
originate
yeah.
from Asia, from Korea, from China, where pay to win.
I don't really wanna. I don't want to stereotype, because if you look at the games now, even games from the West are pay to win. Like, let's face it, guys. It's no longer just an Asian thing. It's no longer an Asian stereotype, an Asian developer stereotype that who makes pay to win games. Everyone makes pay to win games now.
Is
Yeah.
prevalent. But we also run into the issue here where I think PC MMOs, they take what, like 5-10 years to develop.
Yeah,
Mobile
development
MMOs are
time
kind of
is
like churn and
longer.
burn. You know, they're thrown out like every year or every
Yeah.
other year. The investment in terms of money, in terms of developers, it is evident, it is displayed in the quality overall of the game. I think that mobile MMOs are inferior, not because they're mobile MMOs, but because
Yeah.
they're just so easy to push out, and there's so little required to successfully launch one. At the same time, and I'm sure you're not aware of the mobile MMOs that are popular in Korea, but there are games like Grand Saga and Odin Valhalla Rising. They both launched to tens of millions of players in their first month. They made hundreds of millions
Jesus.
of dollars in their first month and continue to make an average of, I think, 10
is what it
to
is.
20 million monthly a year or so after they launched. Both of those games are launching.
By the way, Odin Valhalla has been in my radar for a while, and what turned me away from it, was because it was cross-platform. So yeah, no, for the same reasons that I mentioned earlier, that's why I'm trying to avoid it, because it's gonna have the mobile mechanics that I don't like.
globally. I think Odin mentioned that they're going to be launching in 2023. That was their expectation. after they suffered critical negative feedback from Western players, they decided they were going to remove the autoplay from the game. So there are developers out there that actually seem like they're capable of listening, and Korea and China have this weird preconception that auto mechanics are necessary.
Again, I don't really give a shit about auto mechanics as long as you can't use it to like actually play the whole game. Like, you know, there's been a lot of heat with Throne and Liberty, but to me personally, I'm still gonna play the game. I think it's really cool, and I think the autoplay doesn't really change how I think about the game, because you can't autoplay like endgame for sure. Like, you can't autoplay PvP. Like, if you leave your character out in the open, you can be killed. So that's the thing. Autoplay is more like auto fishing in BDO. Like, it's that kind of mechanic that doesn't really matter, because like, again, it doesn't make you win technically. It's not a core mechanic. It's like a side thing, you know. That's what I think.
For gamers, whereas Western players are very different. We don't perceive autoplay the same way, and I feel like in the grand scheme of things, I mean, I don't think
yeah, you go ahead.
No, I don't want to keep saying that mobile MMOs are inferior, because I feel like, you know, like when you play mobile games, like you mentioned Genshin, I played a lot of Honkai Star Rail, like Wuthering Waves. I know you got to participate in the beta test for that, right?
Yep, played it.
So there are mobile games overall that carry the potential to be very high quality games, but
exactly, like, I'm gonna admit, Genshin, like the stuff that Hoyoverse puts out, they are like really high quality games. Like, the reason I hate it is because of the mobile gacha mechanics that's in the game that turns me off from it. Like, it's not really the gacha itself, but you know, the stuff like how do you say this? The stamina system, the way you're like time gated a lot, you know, like those things.
I just feel like for whatever reason, mobile MMOs specifically are just not living up.
Right. So mobile MMOs are another thing, because Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, they're not MMOs. They are mobile games, but they're not MMOs.
To what the platform carries the potential to live up to, and therefore it carries this weird misconception that mobile MMOs are crap. You know, the people are like, ew, it's a mobile MMO.
Well, that's the issue, right? Is like when every single mobile MMO that comes out is pay to win garbage, then people are going to assume that mobile MMOs are pay to win garbage, right?
Yeah,
that's just
true.
what happens, and I think that's what's happened with like that's people's expectation. Because I've told people before, like, I don't care if the game's a mobile MMO or not. Like, if it's fun to play, I'll play it. But the issue is that there are very few games in that category. Like, there's just a lot of them that are all pay to win, and that's it. I don't even really think that autoplay is a big issue personally.
Same.
I don't think
so like, Asmon, my man, we think the same. Autoplay, I don't give a shit about autoplay.
I think that's the reason why people don't like them. I don't think that even really has to do with it hardly at all. I think the real problem is that just straight up, the games aren't very good. The gameplay loops aren't that great, and that's
exactly, like, the game is just bad. Like, that's the reason people hate games. Not because it's pay to win, not because it's a gacha game, because it's just bad. Like, my beef with like gacha games is more personal, but if I look at it in a more technical, like in a more sensible matter, you know, games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, they're good games. They're genuinely good games. I have to admit that.
it's really the main reason. Like, Honkai Star Rail has autoplay. A lot of people play that. So it's popular in the West, I would say. I mean, to an extent, right? It's probably not as popular as Genshin, but, you know, or like a lot of other Western-focused games, but it is still, you know, doing well. And I think that really the issue is that the gameplay loops are just bad. The gameplay is bad. It's boring. And a lot of it is like very repetitive, or it's the same thing that people have seen 100 times before. So like, why would somebody want to go and play this game whenever they've effectively, like what you said about being copy paste, like they've already played this game before?
Yep.
So it's like, what are they doing? Like, why would they do that? Doesn't make sense.
And just a quick aside, did you know that Honkai Star Rail actually made roughly, as of this month, about 550 to 600 million dollars
Wow.
since launch?
But I guess I expect
I
that.
didn't know it was that. I saw that it made
Damn.
100 million after the first month, or it was like something fucking crazy like that. I'm pretty sure after they release Kafka, it's gonna be a lot more. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think the game is good, and so like I feel like I'll use a lot of these games that are out now, and I'll use them as examples. And I think the reason why is that like if these games are doing well on their own, I don't think that it's necessarily the type of game. It's the quality of the game.
That's true.
And
It's the
that's,
quality.
I think, the biggest issue. It's the
Yep.
same thing with MMOs for the longest time. It was really just World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like in the past, there were a lot of shitty games. Compared to now, it's so much better because, well, there's still some shitty games, but there are like less shitty games, right? So like, there's WoW, there's FF14, and there's the less shitty games, and there's the really shitty games, right? But that's how it is.
But then Final Fantasy 14 started coming out and doing well, and now there's a much bigger space for MMOs, and
True.
you see other ones releasing, whether it's something like New World, something like Lost Ark, etc., coming out in the West. And for a while, I mean, for actually quite a while, Lost Ark did well. Until
I never was able to play Lost Ark for many reasons. I wish they do put out a Southeast Asian version. I am planning to play it though on the Amazon servers probably. But yeah, I'd be doing it against TOS or whatever. A lot of people are doing it anyway. I might do it. I'm about to finish Diablo 4 Season 1 soon. I don't think I'll play Season 2 unless, they remove the renown thing. We'll see. I'm actually pretty excited for the future.
pretty much just completely dropped the ball.
I mean, we don't want to say killed, but
Oh, I mean, they're killing the game in Korea too, so it's nothing special for us.
oh really?
Oh yeah, they've had to do like 3 different emergency
Yeah,
live
I saw
streams
that.
to explain why
I saw
why the
video
game is
clips
garbage.
of it.
It's been really fun staying up until 5 a.m. watching them.
I bet. I remember just last year they were noting how they were having they were hitting concurrency records for active players online at any
So
given
yeah,
time.
Lost Ark was really popular. Like I don't know what happened. Like we all knew it was like gonna be pay to win, right? I think it was already pay to win when it launched, but I think like I said, the problem isn't because it's pay to win. The problem with Lost Ark right now is like the mechanics. The gameplay loop is like kind of shitty.
It's interesting to see and hear that that's no longer the case.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious. Like, cause the thing is, to me, like, I played Lost Ark really seriously whenever it came out. Like, I have like 1,300 hours or something like that logged into the game, and this is like after quitting for 6 months. So I played the game a lot, and I feel like a lot of the things that like I complained about and a lot of other Western players complained about, it's like, okay, now we're seeing everybody else pick it up and see that kind of for what it is. But you're right, it's definitely like a cultural thing, because places like Korea, I think specifically, they don't have the same outlook on like these like pay to win games, and I think that definitely there's like a lot of culture.
Yeah, that is true as well to an extent. So like, there are more people in Korea are more accepting of pay to win. Like, it's normal for them, pretty much.
For Clash there.
What about gacha in MMOs? That's becoming much more prevalent as time goes on. We're seeing this exhibited in like Tower of Fantasy. We're seeing it in Odin Valhalla Rising.
Oh yeah, like I was interested in Tower of Fantasy, but the moment I realized it was technically a gacha game, that pretty much turned me off. Because the thing is, yeah, like I said before, it's about the cross-platform thing. Like it's an MMO, it's half a PC game and half a mobile game, but it's not actually half. So it's mostly a mobile game and partly a PC game. So it's a mobile game on PC basically. That's what's happening with these cross-platform games that they make.
And Saga, which I mentioned both of just earlier, they're all, and even with Blue Protocol, which is a PC console MMO.
Blue Protocol Gacha is only for cosmetics, so it doesn't really matter. I'm still playing Blue Protocol right now. It's not, at least the game is not cross-platform. It's only PC. It's Blue Protocol Gacha is pretty much similar to PSO2. So it's not really a problem to me because they only sell cosmetics. And I think Blue Protocol is even better because there's no trade. So you can't say that, you know, buying cosmetics can get you currency and stuff. So in a way, PSO2 is more pay to win than Blue Protocol is, because Blue Protocol doesn't have any sort of trading. And I used to not like that personally. I used to believe that all MMOs should have some sort of trading. But you know, the more I realized that, you know, RMT and like all that stuff, botting, I can understand why developers remove like trading and, you know, the marketplace and all that. But yeah, I don't want this video to be a whole topic about RMT and stuff, because I think that deserves a whole other video. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I think like removing trade is okay to a certain extent. Like in Blue Protocol, like right now, if you don't shell out any money, you're gonna have a hard time getting costumes. But you know, costumes don't give you power, they only give you looks. But the thing is, in the future, they do give like free gacha tickets right now, but I don't think it's enough to actually roll for something you like. But I do hope that in the future, they make like older gacha costumes obtainable through seasonal events, like the same way that PSO2 NGS does. I like the way that they do that. So they make it obtainable through the season pass and through like what do you call this, seasonal shop kind of.
Oh, that's not even mobile. So gacha is actually emerging into non-mobile games.
I think gacha is fine as long as it's costumes, but I would still prefer if it's not gacha, you know, because I would, you know, like the problem with gacha is it's pretty much gambling, right? We can't really deny that it's gambling at this point. So the thing is, I would rather pay $100 to get the exact thing that I want rather than spend like $500 and, you know, have the possibility of not even getting anything good. So that really sucks. So you know, some gacha mechanics you know, have pity, and some gacha games don't have pity. But sometimes even the pity system isn't really that fair. So I would have preferred if gacha didn't really exist. I would have still preferred if gacha didn't exist. But sorry, if we look at it like in a really, really deep level, it's basically the RNG system, right? It's like a higher level of the RNG system, but the RNG system has existed like since the inception of like RPGs, basically. So it's not like new, you know, like D&D, you know, you roll a dice. It's always been there. RNG has always been there, but spending like in-game resources to gamble is different from spending real life money to gamble. That's what I'm talking about. So if I'm gonna spend my real life money, I would rather be able to get exactly the thing that I want rather than, you know, some random bullshit, some random chance to get the thing that I want.
Games as well, and a lot of people are very strongly of the opinion that
oh yeah, here.
Oh, more
okay,
ads.
These are the behemoths, look at them. The bear, you see that one
yeah,
very early on. I think it looks pretty cool already.
Let it play.
Then you have...
If I get another one, like after this, I'll probably skip. I'm sorry, Sticks, but you know, I'm trying to make a video here.
Thunder Rock.
I'm not gonna cut. I'm not gonna edit any of this because I'm lazy. I don't have time to edit.
Yeah, but
so yeah, you guys just listen to this like it's a podcast. because I'm not gonna be editing
In
anything
Magma
out
Demon, one that I think
except
looks
maybe the intro.
the
I'm gonna
coolest, like
cut it
based on
straight
how
to the
they
intro.
position it, is this one. This looks so
I
scary.
really want to click
like
the
this,
skip
this
right now,
behemoth
but
looks so
no.
scary. The way it's leaning over you, you look so tiny.
Want to give you the
And it
money
looks
sticks.
so evil. This one is amazing. Hardest one to get. But I mean,
Farlight
I mean,
Games. Is this the same people that
what else could I want to
made
have?
that Farlight?
Monsters Mastery.
Like, what is that? There's a Farlight 84. What is that game? I don't know. It's a FPS
That
game.
gacha shouldn't. Well, a lot is probably inaccurate, but there are people that believe that gacha shouldn't exist in MMOs. I feel like it is definitely becoming more popular as the gacha business model has kind of reshaped and redefined
Yeah,
gaming because we're
basically the gacha business model is the peak form of free to play. It is what it is. It makes make a shit ton of money, and it's addicting. People love it. That's the thing about it.
seeing more and more games implement gacha mechanics.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like MMOs are limited in how much they can make. So they are, they're no doubt going to hop on board the gacha train. That's important.
Yeah, so
Because
I think it's just inevitable because, like, the businesses are gonna do whatever makes money. That's just, it is what it is. Like, we can't stop them from doing it, especially if it's making money. There's no way in hell they're gonna stop doing it at all.
I mean, like, I'm not going to fault a company for trying to make as much money as they
It
can.
makes
off
a
their
lot of
game.
fucking money, dude. That's why they
Yep.
do it. I mean, it's not like it's a secret, right? And
it's-
like
it's
we're
not
talking
a
about like
secret.
MMOs, dude. Like, what about FIFA? Like, what is the FIFA Ultimate
That's
Team?
true. Like, it's not just MMOs that are doing this. Like, almost every game. I mean, FIFA, man. Like, EA has been doing it since the beginning of their their sports game. Jesus Christ! I just realized that. So yeah, they've been selling they've been selling loot boxes since the inception of FIFA. I think. I don't know if that's true. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I heard. So yeah, it's oh man.
It's basically fucking gotcha. Like it's you're doing spins. You might get the good character, but you're probably gonna get the bad one. You're gonna get Ronaldo. No, you're gonna get some character that nobody knows their fucking name. And that's just the way that these games
Exactly.
work. And why is it happening? Because it makes a lot of money. That's
Yep.
really why. And also, it's because players might complain and they might somebody does like a 30-minute YouTube essay about why gacha games are bad, and then everybody is complaining they tab out of their autoplay gacha game to complain about
So that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of hypocrites in the world, guys. Like, they complain, but right after they just go back to it. Like, it's so stupid. Like, it's the same thing with the Nvidia situation. Like, people complain about the high prices of graphics cards these days, but people still buy them. So, like, what do you expect? They're gonna keep doing it because you keep buying on it.
how bad gacha games are, right? What the fuck are you doing? So I think that's the case with a lot of people, is that they complain about these things, but there aren't enough people out there that
actually take action.
Like they act on this
Yep,
on
exactly.
this thinking, and they actually do things differently.
Yep.
They actually stop playing these games. They actually, like, boycott a game. And like you saw that, for example, with like the Diablo 4 season just came out, and everybody was like noticing. They said, well, all these people saying that they were going to quit the game. Well, where the fuck are they? How
They
are they
haven't
quitting
quit.
the game if the game has like server
still
keys
playing.
again? Right? So it's like everybody always talks about like what they're going to do, and then it never really happens.
They never do
And I
it.
think that's the case with a lot of these things.
And at the same time, typically it's the vocal minority that are the ones that are complaining about this thing, these things trying to blow it
there's-
up.
That's
yeah,
true.
it's like, again, like, I don't think that people realize, like, and I hate this too, by the way. I fucking hate this, but you can't deny reality. Like,
Yep.
all you have to do is look at the amount of money that these games make, look at the amount of people that play them, and it's pretty evident that a lot of people that are focused on these games don't give a fuck about these problems. And I think
That's
that
true.
another reason for that is that, like, you want to know one thing that's pay to win is real life. Real life
Yep,
is
that's
fucking
true.
pay to win. And so the more that games become a open medium that a lot of just like random people are playing, the more people will be okay with pay to win.
Yeah, basically, the more mainstream video games become, I think the more pay to win it will become, because like Asmund said, real life is the thing is, video games used to be like really really niche, and like a lot of a lot of gamers didn't have money. We don't have money. Like most gamers are poor, but now it's like video games are not just for gamers these days. Like anyone can play, like even like non-gamers, right? Like again, the scope is so much bigger, the reach is so much bigger than before. So I think over time people will just pretty much accept pay to win. I think that's what's gonna happen. Like gotcha games, for example, during the time of its inception, like there were a lot of people that really hated gotcha games, but now it's like no one gives a shit. Like most people don't really give a shit anymore. They're more accepting of it. So that's what I think personally.
Because real life has pay to win in it. So they're not going to view it as something that's like this is not some sort of like bad thing. This is just how it is.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that's happening a lot.
It is. And as you noted, a lot of people are kind of oblivious to the issues that are transpiring in games. People post
That's
on
true.
social media, Twitter, Reddit. You get threads that have hundreds of comments, maybe thousands of upvotes. You have people talking on Discord about these topics, but then they're talking about these topics amongst maybe a couple hundred
Only
to a
a
couple
couple
thousand
few
people,
people.
when the games
Right.
themselves have millions, if not tens of millions of players that are just like
Yep.
engrossed and enthralled in the game that they're playing.
Yeah. So what Styx is saying is that the people that are complaining are really the minority here. Like, if you don't get a lot of people to listen to you and to like turn their heads, it's not gonna do anything. That's just the way it is.
completely disconnected from any drama that's associated with it outside of their own little bubble.
Yeah. Well,
So-
these are people, like I use the example with Diablo 4. These are people that learned about Diablo 4 from a commercial on TV in between a football game. You know,
Exactly.
they
These people are not gamers. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're just ordinary people that want to try this out. Like, it's probably new to them. They're probably not sweaty, like, sweaty bald old men like us. Basically, right? Like, we're not like, they're not in their mom's basement. And oftentimes, these people, these like very very casual people that don't really know about the drama and shit, they're usually like better off, like compared to us, or like, compared to like the sweaty gamers. Like they're probably like better off financially, like mentally, physically and stuff. They probably have a better work-life balance than anyone else in the gaming space, right? We're talking about the regular people here. That's what I'm talking about earlier.
don't. It's not going on Reddit to read somebody's fucking essay about why Blizzard needs to change. Like, they don't give a fuck. They play it with their wife a couple hours on the weekend.
That's
They're
true.
not going to care about this issue at all. And there's no way that you can even reach these people. It's not like, well, maybe, we can kind of like all get together and help them understand. No, they don't want to understand. They do this to relax. And
Yep, exactly.
I feel like it's impossible to reach those people just by the definition of like what kind of people they are. And it's like, it's also not an insult. I mean, these are people that have, successful, productive lives,
See, this is what I'm talking
oftentimes
about.
more so than the people that are complaining about the games.
Yep, exactly.
But the truth is that they don't really give a shit about these problems. And I think that it's naive to expect everybody that's in the gaming space to have the same mindset on it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So this was a really nice thing that he said. Like, it opened me up a bit. Like, it's gonna be impossible to like make everyone think exactly like you do. It's impossible. Like, humans, we're all unique in each way. We're all gonna think differently. We're all gonna have different likes and dislikes. So yeah, like, at some point it doesn't really matter anymore. Like I don't really care anymore. I'm just gonna enjoy what I enjoy, and like I'm still gonna keep shitting on other games, but you know, I'm not gonna expect people to change. That's my new outlook now in video games, basically, or in life in general.
I do think that obviously like gaming and like having gambling systems in gaming is like very bad, and it would be great if there was regulation on it, because I don't find it to
I
be
agree.
like, I don't think that there's ever like, I don't think that you should ever be
So I agree. I think there is regulation, but it's not that, you know, it's not that set in stone. And I think it's hard to like really implement, like have a universal rule to it, because you know each country has like different like laws and stuff about that. I do wish that it does happen in the near future, like you know, a universal regulation for gacha games. You know, example, rates should always be like this. There should always be a pity. A pity should always be like this. I do wish that that does happen. Some countries do have regulations on that, but not all, not all. And like companies usually find a way to like go around that. So yeah, I hope it does get regulated in the future, because I don't think gacha is ever gonna go away. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but gacha is never gonna go away. It's here to stay. Even though I hate it, even though most of us hate it, the reality is it's here to stay.
able to buy something in a video game and not know what you're gonna get. Like it just seems like it's gambling, right? It is.
Yep,
It's gambling. And so like I would like if there was regulation on that, especially because a lot of these games that have loot boxes are marketed towards like literal children.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of kids that play Genshin Impact, for example, or play Honkai Star Rail, and you know, you have those people that are, you know, like little kids that are, you know, effectively just being, you know, like made to gamble. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily good for anybody except for the companies.
Right. Let me use as an example here Blue Protocol. Since you mentioned the whole gambling without
Blue
knowing
Protocol
what
again. Blue Protocol. I don't really give a shit about costume gacha. I don't think it really matters, but I think that's more personal. But you know, if we look at it in a more general, unsensible like sense, I guess yeah, Blue Protocol gacha is pretty bad right now, because the rates are very low even after the buff, the recent buff, and then they recently did add a pity system. Before it didn't have a pity system, but then the pity system is still kind of shitty, because what ends up happening is, you know, in other games, the pity is usually you get to choose like the thing that you want after you reach the pity, or you know, if you get the super rare thing from that banner. In Blue Protocol it's different, because there are multiple like S rank, or that's what we call like the super rare, like drop from the banner. And like if you reach the pity, it's like you get another gacha that only has S rank. So there's still no guarantee that you will get the thing that you want. So it's still gonna cost a hell lot of money. They do have like another pseudo pity, which is the BP points. So you exchange your costumes, whatever the gacha stuff that you got that you didn't like, you would exchange them for BP points, and then you could then use those points to buy the thing that you want. But the problem with that is you lose the thing that you had. Instead of like the regular pity, you still have the thing that you still have the trash things that you didn't like, in addition to the pity that they would give you. And on top of that, the pricing is just like, the conversion rate and the pricing is just outrageous right now for Blue Protocol. So yeah, in that sense it is pretty bad, but to me it doesn't really matter. It's just costumes. It's not gonna, no, you can't like gacha for weapons in Blue Protocol.
you're necessarily going to get in terms of reward here. So Blue Protocol, and I'm sure someone in the comment section is going to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe the last time that I read about the gacha in Blue Protocol, there was one specific part of it concerning the outfits. The outfits are supposed to be RNG, and the chance of obtaining the outfits is,
super
or
small.
not the chance of obtaining outfits. To obtain the outfits, you could potentially invest thousands of dollars because there is no definitive way of obtaining them. Typically in gacha games with regards to pity, you hit like 90 and then you're guaranteed like a 50-50 chance, or it carries over to the next pity, and then like at 180 you're guaranteed a 100% chance of obtaining a waifu or an outfit or something. So in Blue Protocol, with this one specific type of gacha, there is no pity, so you are not guaranteed the outfit that you were trying to pay or that you were paying for. So you could invest thousands of dollars into obtaining this outfit and still not obtain it. I would personally, I'm of the opinion that I would rather spend $100 to obtain
Same. So that's what I was saying earlier.
$200 to obtain a character with 100% certainty, or an outfit or a class, rather than investing potentially hundreds into it without the chance of ever actually obtaining it.
Exactly.
I think it's unfair to present something that you could potentially get and then go on and spend thousands of dollars and never get.
I think that there's no upside to the consumer to buy something and not have any certainty of what you're buying. Like I don't feel like there's any benefit for me as a player that exists. It doesn't make my experience better. It doesn't really make anything better. It's just done to make more money. And like in general, I wish that there were two rules with these types of games. Number one, you can never spend money in the game and not know exactly what you're going to get. And number two, you can never have a premium currency. Like, I think premium currencies are just pure.
On the topic of premium currency, I think what Asmon, let's let him finish first.
Pure obfuscation. They just make it harder for people to understand how much money they're spending. And again, they serve no functional benefit for the.
So the thing with premium currency is the way they are bundled. So it's like something, let's say an outfit is for sale for 800 coins or something. Let's just call it coins. And then they sell you the coins in 100, 300, 150 and 500. Let's say it's like that. So or let's just say there's 500 and there's 1000. So what are you gonna pick? You're gonna buy either two 500s or the 1000 pack, right? So the way they're bundled is designed so that you spend more money instead of just spending what that item you wanted to buy was worth, basically.
Customer, and I think that they actively make it harder for the customer to understand what they're buying, and it's done so intentionally. And I just think that why does this exist?
I agree.
Yeah, I don't. By the way, I don't think any of this stuff's ever going to change. The people that I don't know.
Exactly.
I think you live in Canada, right?
Me, no, I live in North Carolina.
That's what I was talking about.
Okay. So yeah, it's know that all the people that work at our government don't know what a computer is. So this is never going to change, right? It's just never going to change.
Right.
But it is annoying, and it would be nice if it did, although it never will.
Yeah, they're trying to enforce it, but I mean, it's not gonna. It doesn't matter.
I think it will get enforced, but it's gonna take a really, really long time. I think until the oldies in the government get replaced by younger people, maybe it's gonna change. Maybe it'll start changing at least, but who knows? We'll just have to wait. We can't really say for now.
People are continuing to support this anyway, and things are continuing to get worse and worse.
Oh yeah, I mean things will just keep getting worse, and people there are going to be more and more games that are like this. I think that more games are going to become pay to win because gaming has become more and more mainstream. And the more mainstream gaming gets, the more people it's going to attract that are, just neutral towards pay to win or not really as interested in caring about it.
Plus,
and it's
pay to win. Sorry, go on.
No, that's fine.
Plus, pay to win is also kind of subjective. Pay to win is really only going to affect people that are playing either competitively or that are playing with other players. So with regards to multiplayer, pay to win isn't really necessarily going to affect people that are playing by themselves. Like in Genshin Impact, right? This is
why to me, well, it depends. It really depends. I can't really say it in general terms, but yeah, for the longest time, I've always thought that pay to win doesn't matter in a PvE game. I mean, sure, like not everyone's gonna think the same, but it's a PvE game, if someone has better gear than you, it doesn't matter. I think it's better that you get to team up with people that have better gear than you, right? They can carry you, but in PvP games though, it's slightly different. The how do I say, the balance kind of shifts when you have like a very pay to win system. But yeah, that's like a whole other topic. So I don't want to make this a video about pay to win. So I just want to focus on like the topic here. What's the state of MMOs right now?
It's pay to win to be able to roll for characters and weapons, when the reality is it doesn't matter if you have like the highest upgraded husbandos or waifus with the best weapons or anything, because 99% of the game you're going to be playing by yourself. The 1% you're playing multiplayer is to just do like some boss fights or maybe an event or something, where overall your power, your characters are going to have absolutely no impact. So the whole pay to win thing affecting you is also entirely subjective, I think.
Well, Genshin Impact is you have like resin, right? That's in Genshin
Stamina,
Impact, and
yeah.
so stamina. And can you pay money to increase the stamina?
I think there is a limit, and
So I don't know. I don't know how it works in Genshin or Honkai Star Rail, but I think you can buy stamina, right? That's how they sell That's what the stamina system is for. It's like designed to like get you to pay more, basically.
Common in gacha games, but there's a limit to how many you can, like how many times you can top up per day.
There's a limit. Usually they put a limit, but it's still pay to win. You can't deny it's still pay to win.
Yeah, like Honkai Star Rail is 8 times a day.
Yeah.
I think that Lost Ark.
But the thing with stamina systems is I only hate it in traditional games. What I mean by that is, I'll just I'm playing. So people probably hate me for this, but I am playing a blockchain game right now, which is called Arc World. It's basically a blockchain version of Arcade, and I don't hate the stamina. We have a stamina system in Arc World, and I don't hate the stamina system there. The reason is because in regular games, you can only buy stamina from the game, from the developers. And that means it's a fixed price. You can only buy it with real money. But in blockchain games, usually, or at least for Arc World right now, the game I'm playing, how do you see it? How do you say this? Stamina is produced, or it's called labor in Arc World. Labor is produced by players that have bought the land NFTs and have houses and stuff. So the big difference with that is that if players can produce labor, it means that you can buy stamina from other players, and you can buy it with like in-game currency rather than real money, and like you can buy it infinitely. So that's the that's one difference of why I like why I like stamina systems in blockchain games. I don't know if that's true for every blockchain game. Probably not, but at least for the game that I'm playing, Arc World, it is like that. So like I prefer that compared to like the stamina system in traditional games. And the thing is, having like stamina in a blockchain game that's tradable and people can buy infinitely is one way to like how do I say this? It's one way to stimulate the economy. So like it's not a useless mechanic at all. So like it's really good. So as long as you keep playing, you can keep buying stamina to keep playing, extend your playtime and all that. So usually stamina is used to like open loot boxes basically. So yeah, that's gonna be that. I won't like delve too deep into that because I think that deserves its own other video. I think I'll talk about that in some other video. So yeah, let's just go back to this one.
It's 3 or 4 for Una's tasks, and I understand. But do you think that system would exist if it wasn't pay to win?
I think that it provides people an
Oh,
additional
come
means
on,
with which to
Sticks.
spend
Just
money.
say that it's
I
pay to
think
win.
that they are presenting these situations where players know they can spend money and they know that they can get an advantage
That's pay to win.
by paying, so they do. And it's a psychological way of forcing us to spend more than we would normally be willing to spend, especially because it's so cheap. It's like, you know,
sorry,
you spend
guys,
like
I was-
$1 or $2 and you can top up numerous times. And it you know.
Oh yeah. Well, what I'm saying is like games are designed, and this is like so like how much of Lost Ark did you play?
I played the Russian version for probably about 200 hours.
Okay. So you remember like the Una's tasks, the upgrades, like all the different types of like little ways that you could spend money, like Mary's shop, all that stuff, like
I
life
remember a
skill
lot,
experience.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I like my argument for the game has always been that pay to win is simultaneously the main reason, and it also has nothing to do with why the game has problems. Because pay to win, you're right, that pay to win does not directly affect players in the way that, oh wow, this guy has better gear than me.
Yep.
I'm losing. I'm a failure now. Now, I think that there is an element of that, right? Because you're trying to join raid groups and they're going to invite people that have higher item level. And so if you pay to win, you have higher item level, you might get invited more.
I think so. What he's talking about is gatekeeping, right? I think gatekeeping is never gonna go away because, I mean, if you're trying to do something, you know, the way I look at it, if you're trying to do like this super hard content and you're like strapped for time, like you'd want to clear it in one go. So I really understand because I gatekeep. I do gatekeep. Like I used to gatekeep in PSO2. I still do, I guess. So like back when I was playing it. But yeah, it's very understandable. Like I would like, you know, like let's say let's put it in a different perspective. Like you say, let's say school project, right? You know, this one guy doesn't do shit. You know, he's lazy. He's like, you know, you're gonna gatekeep him, right? You're not gonna let him in your group project. So yeah, I think gatekeeping is never gonna go away, and I think it's okay. And I don't think gatekeeping is the player's fault. It's the developer's fault for like making this in-game activity in a way that, you know, promotes gatekeeping. But I don't know. It's a bit of a gray area because I don't want like I don't want every content to be easy. I prefer to have content that's like a really low like success rate, because then it feels really good when you do succeed, right? So like I think people should go into those things like with a different mindset. For example, like if you want to join like a super duper hard raid, you should like go in with the mindset that you should know the mechanics, you should have the right gear, and you probably are not going to get picked if you don't have any of those, right? So I think it's like a mindset thing, to be honest.
Sure, but the other issue is that the game systems and the game design is made in a way to funnel people into feeling compelled to use those pay-to-win systems.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really what the issue is with having pay-to-win. And I can understand and appreciate people saying that it doesn't affect them, but just because it doesn't affect them and their competitive nature of the game and that they're not competitive, that's totally fine. But the game, like the fundamental DNA of the game, is altered in a way to make the game reward you for paying to win.
That's
Because
true.
if it didn't, then they wouldn't be able to make any money, and the game wouldn't be profitable, and it wouldn't exist.
That's true.
So
Like,
the issue is that, like for example, like Chaos Dungeons.
It's a
Why do you have to
cycle.
do 2 Chaos Dungeons every day in Lost Ark? Why do you have to do 2 Guardian raids every day in Lost Ark? Why do you have to do, do the Awakenings for cards to upgrade them to Light of Salvation 30? Well, the reason why is
they
because
can
there's a
sell you
pay-to-win
skips.
system that exists that if you use it, it will accelerate this process.
Exactly.
You compare this with something like Elden Ring. How long does it take to get, even one of the very rare items in the game? Not very long at all. Maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then you're done for the entire game. So you compare.
I haven't played Elden Ring, by the way, but what he's trying to say is that in Elden Ring, it's worth wasting your time compared to like, these pay to win games that have these like skip mechanics, because it's just Elden Ring is just it's just more, the game design is just better. It's just more enjoyable. The process to get to that, the process to killing this boss for 4 hours is more enjoyable than grinding the same shit for 4 hours, right? So that's pretty much what it is.
The different types of games, and if you look at the time frame of like how long it takes to get each thing, like if Halls of Torment, Vampire Survivors is all the same thing. Games that don't have pay to win systems oftentimes don't have these massive longitudinal grinds because they don't need to, because the players already paid the money. Those longitudinal massive grinds usually exist in order to incentivize people to pay money to skip them.
That applies to,
That's
I
true.
feel, gacha and mobile games as well, because typically...
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
It mostly applies to gacha and mobile games, basically.
I know you play Tower of Fantasy.
Because the thing with gacha or mobile games in general, they are designed for people who don't have a lot of time. So that's why they have these like skip mechanics, these acceleration mechanics, these pay for convenience mechanics.
See at launch, I know, and this has
Oh,
changed.
I played it a lot.
This has changed since launch. This is no longer current, but back at
You want
launch,
to get
there were
another hate
those,
video?
there were those little balls and like chests and stuff.
Yeah, so that's funny because Styx has this drama currently going on with Tower of Fantasy, so like that was what Asmon was trying to say, like making their hate video.
And even the story was time gated.
Yeah.
There are like aspects of the game that are always cut off and disconnected from players, where you either have to pay to access, pay to get stronger, so you can actually surpass the limitations that are being imposed on you. There's typically in gacha mobile games, there are just all these weird mechanics that incentivize you paying to actually either participate in, consume, or progress beyond. So I feel like it's kind of a similar thing that is present in gacha and mobile games as well.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And it's basically the game starts you with like 10 ankle weights, and you have to pay money to take each one of them off every day.
Exactly.
Like, that's basically what happens.
Exactly.
And like again, I don't like this type of gameplay, but the problem is that there is an unironic, I hate using the term, but it seems to be true, a silent majority of people that fucking spend the money. Like, look at Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal made like $100 million in like a small period of time. And like Diablo Immortal doesn't have any waifus, it doesn't have any anime
That's
girls.
true.
Imagine if it did, it would have made way more money. So
That's true.
like if they're doing that well with Diablo Immortal and these other games are this successful, I think that it's only a matter of time until more companies do what EA does, and they add some sort of seasonal bullshit mechanic in order to keep people involved with their systems, right?
Yeah.
Like the
That's what's
Ultimate
gonna
Team.
happen.
I think that's basically what I'm talking about with FIFA. It's going to become more and more common because like players just simply I've said before, every gamer boycott is only 1 3-minute cinematic away from being over. And I think that's really the truth.
That's
Like
true.
most players do not actually care about the things they're boycotting.
Yeah.
They just want to be entertained. And if the game is entertaining at that exact second, they will play it. And if it's not, they won't play it. It's that simple. There's
That's very true. That's very
there's
true.
no ethics or logic to it at all. And I'm sure that there are going to be people in the comments that will say, "Oh, well, I'm different," but that's nice. But
You're not.
the numbers certainly paint a
I
very
mean, maybe
different
you
picture.
are different. The thing is, maybe you are different, but you're not the majority, sadly.
Well, they always do, and people always very ardently defend their own
Yeah.
narrative. Anyway,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it fits their belief that
What makes it that's not what they believe, right? They don't like that. They don't agree with it. And I completely respect that. I think everybody should, it's like if you feel like there's something that's problematic or like fucked up or something like that, you should make a decision that is in line with what you believe. But the thing is that you just can't expect everybody else to believe the same thing.
Yep,
And I
that's
think
the
that
thing.
that's what's happened in so many of these cases, is that you just see so many of these games that are doing incredibly well, despite them being like absolutely malicious and predatory.
Yeah, and seeing Diablo Immortal continue to pull in like $8 to $12 million each month just globally.
Damn.
If you include China, it's pulling in, I think, 20 to 25 million a month still.
And you think about it, right? Because like obviously somebody could go and say, "Oh, well, Diablo 4 made more money in like 5 days." You're totally right. But how much money did it take to make Diablo 4 versus
That's
how
true.
much money does it take to make
So
some
like,
bullshit?
yeah, we have to calculate revenue, actual revenue, than actual sales, right? So revenue is sales minus the cost. So like, if you compare that to Diablo Immortal, then Diablo Immortal is probably has more ROI than Diablo 4, because it's like, it took faster to make, it took lesser to make.
Shit like Diablo Immortal. I guarantee you Diablo Immortal probably cost a whole lot less, and the upkeep on Diablo Immortal probably costs a whole lot less as well.
Yep.
Not just that, it was also that much quicker to roll out. So then the budget necessary to actually develop the game was probably exponentially less.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just think that people, like, I don't really know like how like gamers can do anything about this. I don't really think that there is a way that
Yep.
people can kind of like protest these types of issues, except for
So
just
yeah, like what I said earlier, as games become more mainstream, us gamers become the minority. Basically, the gamers become the minority, because the more and more mainstream it becomes, the more like normal people, the more normies are gonna come in, right, and play the game. They're gonna spend money. They're not gonna give a fuck about all these issues that we're talking about.
just acting in
And I'm not saying that. I'm not blaming. I'm not trying to blame them. It's not their fault, because like I said, like Asmon said earlier, we can't expect everyone to think the same way that we do, to like uphold the same beliefs as we do. So yeah, it is what it is. I think the best thing we can do now is just try to accept it slowly and try to ride the waves, basically.
their own, just act in your own best interest, do whatever you feel like is the right decision, and like, just try not to expect anybody else to do the same thing, or you're gonna lose your fucking mind.
That's true.
That's what I think. But yeah, I do think that we're going to enter into like, and I think that we already are. You're seeing tons of other games like Throne and Liberty, right? This game also has different like pay to win features, etc. And let's see, Blue Protocol, it has the Imagines that are the pay to win in that game.
No, Imagines are not pay to win. I don't know who told them that, but Imagines are not pay to win. The only pay to win is, well, you could say the weapons could be pay to win, the socketing, because you can gacha for the tickets, the great success tickets, but other than that, it's not really. Imagines are not pay to win. He's wrong about that. He's probably heard that somewhere, or probably made the wrong conclusion from when he was playing.
Like, obviously you have things like World of Warcraft where you can just simply buy gold. And
yeah, WoW
it's
tokens.
like, a game that has, it's like the fucking the Morpheus meme for in the Matrix, where it's like, the red pill and the blue pill, it's like gotcha or pay to win. And it's
They're
like
the same
the
pill.
funny fucking thing now is they're
the
just
same
feeding you
pill.
both of them, right? It's the same pill.
Oh yeah, they're kind of synonymous with one another now anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, they're, and I actually, like, personally, I don't really give a fuck a lot about a game. In a way, I think that I would say that gacha is a lot more corrosive than pay to win. Like, I actually don't think that pay to win is, like, I think somebody should have the right to make a pay to win game. Like, you should be
Yeah,
able to make a pay to win game if you want to. It shouldn't be illegal to make a pay to win game. But like gambling stuff, I feel like, especially if it's marketed towards kids.
I agree. Like, like I said, I would rather spend $200 on something that I know I'm gonna get 100%, rather than spend $1,000 and, like, not knowing what I'm gonna get. Like, I'm gonna get some random shit, basically.
Not necessarily the best thing to happen.
that's what most gacha are anyway. Toward
yeah.
Marketed towards children who take
Well,
their
of
parents'
course, right.
credit cards and spend like 50 grand. I remember I read an article about some 15-year-old girl who took her dad's credit card. I think it was in Singapore, and she maxed out like 50 grand or something.
Oh yeah, of course, right? And then like it's like it completely fucks up his life. He's got to like talk to the bank, etc. It's like a huge issue, right? And so like, no, I think that's absolutely true, and it happens all the time. And like, again, like how, like, in what way is this beneficial for anybody except for the company? I think that the answer is that it's not. And
Very true.
like, it seems like a lot of people, because I think that really just over time, like people will kind of learn a little bit more. Okay, like it's this kind of a game, and they'll be able to be more discerning. But it's going to take a very long time for that to happen.
So you don't think
Yeah.
that that pay to win is necessarily detrimental to the failure of an MMO? You don't think that being a mobile MMO is going to, on a fundamental level, damn the MMO, prevent it from succeeding? You think it's the quality of the game overall is going to have the largest effect on the potential success or failure of a game? But do you think that that the studios which have been exhibiting this shift in momentum, where they're refocusing their attention from what was once a pretty much PC exclusive subgenre of gaming into cross-platform games that are promoting gacha, that are promoting pay to win, that are promoting a lower quality product, is going to have a detrimental effect on the genre? Do you think that the genre is going to stagnate further as a direct result of those choices that are made by the larger companies? Because there are passion projects out there, right? There are tons of indie MMOs that are being developed.
Oh yeah.
That all, they all look kind of less than stellar, if we're being honest. Like,
Yeah.
Yes, what
All
it is.
right, but we'll see what happens.
and
That's the
then
way I see it.
yeah, but then there are these studios that know exactly how to prey on potential players with these predatory practices. Do you think the shift in momentum is going to necessarily affect the future of the genre? Do you think that we're just going to kind of keep riding along? It's not going to have any impact whatsoever? Like,
I don't even I think that, and this is kind of, it goes back to what I said about Lost Ark, where Lost Ark with pay to win is simultaneously has nothing and everything to do with the game being bad. Like, for example, you can spend all the money in the world, but whenever there's 7 different one-shot mechanics that 8 people need to do correctly, or everybody
That's true.
dies 5 times in the
doesn't
fight,
matter.
well, then it doesn't really matter if you have really good gear or not, because you're still going to get killed by these things.
Yep.
I don't think that. I think that pay to win isn't fundamentally the problem, but what the issue is more so is that
the game design.
the game is designed in a way to
Yep,
make you
exactly.
want to pay to win. Because what happens is that, and this is the same issue with, like, people always try to draw a distinction between pay for convenience and pay to win.
They're the
And
same.
I think that anything outside of effectively what's like a monthly sub, like OSRS has this, WoW of
pay to
course has a
win.
monthly sub, Final Fantasy, Lost Ark has the Crystalline Aura, etc. Right? And anything outside of that, pay for convenience is just simply a profit incentive for the developer to make the game inconvenient. Because now,
Yep.
the longer it takes somebody to do a daily, the more they want to pay money to skip it. And I think that's where the issue really lies. Now, in terms of how it's going to affect the industry in general, I mean, I think that nobody can really be sure what that effect is going to be. But I do think that over time, players will probably just adapt and stop caring as much.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about earlier. I think people will just slowly learn to accept this thing. It's like gacha games, more and more people are accepting it. Even me, like, I still hate gacha games, but not as much anymore. Like, I can appreciate them for I've always appreciated them for, like, the game that they are. But I'm still never gonna play a gacha game. Well, okay, maybe there is one gacha game that I will play that is coming out, and it's Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, only because it's Final Fantasy VII, and it's basically a one-for-one remake of the whole, like, compilation, and I'm most excited for Before Crisis because I never got to play that because it was a Japan-only game. So them remaking that is, like, really cool. So I don't know if I'm gonna play it, like, seriously, if I'm gonna spend money or not, but I will give it a try at least for the story. So yeah. That might actually be the first, well, not the first. I have played multiple gacha games beforehand, but I never really played them seriously. So yeah, I'm pretty much, like, up and down, on and off with this thing, like, but mostly I still really dislike gacha games in general.
Because I think that's what's happened with microtransactions and, like, cosmetic skins in general. I don't know if necessarily, like, pay to win is it will be a deal breaker for a lot of people, definitely. But as I said, I think that the biggest issue is that the game
The
is designed in a
mechanics.
way to incentivize people to pay to
Yep, the
win.
game design.
And usually that's done in a way to by making the base game and the base experience very unfun and frustrating to play. I think like in general, mobile games versus like PC games, Genshin Impact, from everything that I've seen, is a very high quality, great game. Tower of Fantasy is a mobile game. Tower of Fantasy has a lot of very great, high quality, good things, which would make sense because they stole a lot of them from Genshin Impact, right? So it would make sense, of course, that they did that, and it would be the same effectively game.
I do personally think though, like from a design perspective, I do think that Tower Fantasy is better than Genshin Impact simply because Tower Fantasy is an actual MMO. But yeah, at the end of the day, they're both gacha, so yeah, that's one reason I haven't ever touched Tower Fantasy.
And what's another example? Fortnite.
Oh.
Fortnite, and you can play Fortnite on mobile as well. So I don't
cool.
think that mobile is like I like the idea of cross-platform. I would like every game to play well.
So, like, cross-platform is okay if it's done right. Like, like Fortnite. Wait, is Fortnite actually cross-platform? Wait. How about Apex? The mobile Apex just shut down, right? Wasn't that like a whole separate game? I don't know about Fortnite, but the thing with the cross-platform is if it's done right, I guess it's okay. If they can create a cross-platform where the game is conformed to its PC counterpart, then that would be great. I wouldn't give a shit if that's how it is. But if it's conformed to the mobile counterpart, then that's going to be a problem.
Cross-platform, and I've grown up like I don't need every game to look like Diablo 4. I don't need every game to look like one of these like insanely like really like a Jedi Survivor or something like that.
That's true.
So as long as the game plays well and it's enjoyable, fuck. I mean, I played Vampire Survivors.
And I would prefer if there were like a lot of different games with like their own unique art styles, their own unique like gameplays. That would be better because competition breeds better games.
You can play that on mobile. So I don't think mobile games are necessarily the issue. It's just that it's like if you did a Venn diagram between shitty games and mobile games, it would pretty much be one circle.
I agree, although I know
That's
there are
true.
going to be people that are out there, keyboard warriors typing out,
yeah.
mobile games suck, it doesn't matter, your opinion's invalid.
Well, I mean, like, I'm sure that a lot of them might play games that have a mobile element to them. I can't say about everybody, but I think that with a lot of people, they probably do play games that have like some mobile component to them in one way or another. And that doesn't make them wrong or anything. That's fine, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think opinions are more than welcome. I think differences of opinions often spark great discussions. So
Oh yeah, I mean, like that's how that's the whole point of YouTube, right? Of course, yeah.
yeah, but a difference of opinion doesn't inherently make one person's opinion invalid or wrong. It just means that to you,
There's just a different
It depends.
way of looking at it. And
I
think,
mean, there is a right and wrong, but in most cases, well, I don't want to delve too deep into that, but yeah.
that also like everybody is going to enjoy different games for different reasons.
That's
Just overall, I don't really see MMOs, like I don't see them dying. I think honestly, like a lot of the people that are like, you look at something like what is the metaverse?
we
What do
think
people
the same
want
thing.
out of the metaverse? Why do people talk about the metaverse? The metaverse is basically an MMO, right?
on a grander scale.
Yeah, it's on a grander scale, it's an MMO. I think people want MMOs. Think about how many games, like, look at how popular the isekai genre is for anime.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Look at, Sword Art Online, Overlord, Log Horizon, at least Sword Art Online and Overlord. These are, like, very, very well known. A lot of people watch these shows, and it's because that there's something about that type of experience that's extremely compelling for a lot of people. And that's why MMOs always serve to be such great games, especially in like the early 2000s.
The thing is, MMOs, like a lot of people probably, if you're a casual Andy, you probably don't see it this way, but for most of us, or for like some of us, I don't know, like for some people, MMOs are an escape from reality because you get to play out your life differently inside the MMO and all that stuff. It's basically like playing a different version of you, and that's really, really comforting for a lot of people.
When people weren't as connected as they are now. So I don't think that MMOs are like a dying genre at all. I think, honestly, like, I think it's the opposite. I feel like if somebody's able to make a really good MMO, everybody will play it. And you saw
True.
that with like Lost Ark whenever it came out. Everybody was massively positive about it. People were loving that game. And the problem is just that it either evolved in a bad way or it didn't evolve, depending on like what your outlook on it is. And I think that's really the issue that a lot of these games have, is that they
That's
evolve
true.
in a way that, you know, makes them pay to win, or the developers don't really understand why players play the game.
Well, another example of that is PSO2 and PSO2 New Genesis, and even Blue Protocol. Blue Protocol launched in Japan. Within its first week, had 600,000 players within Japan alone.
Yeah, it's massive.
PSO2 and PSO2 New Genesis, when they were launched by Sega, I think in like 2021 and 2022 respectively, had tens of millions of players logging in, but they realized quickly that New Genesis was actually completely void of any kind of end game content, so they all just abandoned the game. But
The problem the problem with NGS, like, okay, this is gonna be a hot take. I don't think PSO2 was that good of a game. I'm gonna be really honest. I don't think PSO2 was that good of a game. The problem with NGS right now is I've been playing it for a long, long time, and I'm on a break right now. Is it's not that it doesn't have endgame, but the endgame that it has is pretty boring. Like, it's not fun. The gameplay loop is very, very boring, and it doesn't feel very rewarding. So I think that's the real problem with NGS right now. They had like, so I came back. The last time I came back was like the very end of Stia patch, and I gotta say, Stia patch was probably the worst. Probably the worst patch they did. Like, the best patch for me was Kavaris, because Kavaris had the two best content that they've ever made, and which is the Dark Falls R2 and what's that called? Ordinal Tower. And I didn't even play Ordinal Tower during the Kavaris patch because I played it late. I played it during the Stia patch, and like, I really enjoyed playing those two. So yeah, Blue Protocol on the other hand, I think it's too early to say anything for Blue Protocol. The thing with Blue Protocol that makes it better than PSO2 is because it has a very strong early to mid game. Like, the moment I finished the story, I didn't even give a fuck about end game. Like, I'm just excited to like know what happens next in the story. So like, in that regard, you know, I'm already satisfied like just finishing the story. And that's a lot of game developers forget about the early to mid game experience and just focus so much on the end game. End game, I'm not saying end game is not important, but you know, I think right now Blue Protocol does lack end game. I'm gonna admit that, but you know, I think you only face that problem if you're like a really sweaty gamer. If you're like hardcoring it, you will run out of things to do. Like, I'm not done with Blue Protocol yet. Like, I still have 2 more classes to level 50, where it's gonna be 3 once the Lancer comes out. I still need to do a lot of side quests, you know, a lot of like completionist things. But overall, I'm really satisfied with my experience with Blue Protocol. So yeah, I don't want this to be a Blue Protocol video, so like, yeah, let's leave it at that for now.
You had the potential there for tens of millions of players. There was so much interest in PSO2. There was so much interest in Lost Ark. I think New World had like 700,000 concurrent players at launch, right? Or approaching
It
a
was
million.
close to a million. Yeah, it was close to, it was like 800, 900K, something like that. And like people are wanting a new MMO. So it's
Exactly.
not like people don't want MMOs anymore or people don't care about them. I think people love MMOs. People want more MMOs. It's just that right now there just hasn't been any good ones.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
That's what the issue
all
is.
we can
more
do
than
is
anything.
wait. All
And
we can do
people are
is
just
hope and
writing the
wait.
genre off because there are so many subpar games that release, and they're frustrated. So they're like, you know, the genre's dead. You know, this MMO's dead. That's the
And it's like, it makes sense, right? And also, like, MMOs kind of have they have an issue of like player base because people want to play like the biggest MMO. And this is
Sure.
kind of like an advantage that WoW has, is that WoW has been around for so long and so many people play WoW that accomplishments in WoW just simply have more intrinsic value because
Sure.
more people can see them. It's the same reason, like, there's a part of me that's like, okay, you know, why does Blizzard really care about making Diablo 4 open world? Well, maybe it's because people can see your cosmetics whenever you go out in the open world,
That's
right?
true. Like, probably
And
true.
I think that being conspicuous with the things that you have in game and being able to show off accomplishments, like that's why people spend $200,000 on a car, right? I mean, you can't drive these super fast sports cars as fast as they're meant to go. You're just driving them around so you can show off that you have them.
Yep,
And I think
it's
that
a status
MMOs,
symbol.
like they cater to that exact same mindset.
Yeah, people like to gloat and show off what they have and what other people
Yeah.
don't. It's
It's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, it's human
And
nature.
I know, like, obviously, some people might say, "Oh, well, that's not good." I agree, it's not, but it is real.
It is what it
and,
is. It's
I think that's
happening.
what's happened with a lot of these these
You
games
can't-
is they
you
try
can't
to
deny
they
that
try to take the
It's not happening.
like basically the shortcut to making people
it's
care about
happening, I
this kind
mean.
of stuff without actually understanding what goes into it.
I again, you're completely right. I agree. I don't think the MMO genre is necessarily going anywhere. I think there are
Either.
40, maybe 50 MMOs that are either in active development right now or scheduled to launch from the East. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just looking at that purely from an analytical point of view, there are dozens
They've got to
of MMOs.
get one, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they can't fuck up all 40 games, right?
For sure.
Surely
for
they
sure.
can't do that.
Surely.
Well, if
I
they
don't
do,
know.
like,
It'll be
there are no
impressive.
doubt going to be more opportunities, right?
Yeah, there'll be 40 more next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and
So people are going to keep doing it because like the ceiling for it is very high. I mean, like look at World of Warcraft. It's made, you know, how many, probably billions of dollars at this point. And so, yeah, I think that people are going to, like, people want a new MMO. People care about that stuff. That's why everybody, like, people all flock to the new MMO whenever it comes out and they leave. That's because the game's not very good in a lot
Yep,
of cases.
in most cases.
Yeah.
And I feel like eventually we have what, like Blue Protocol. I feel like that carries the potential to appeal to a certain demographic. Is it going to be the next big MMO? No.
No,
I
probably
feel like
not.
Ashes is going to appeal to a
Well, like
certain
I've always said this in my streams, like Blue Protocol right now is the best anime MMO, but it's not the best MMO.
demographic, but is it going to be the next big MMO? Probably not. I feel like, you know, we're going to kind of bounce around from MMO to MMO. I don't think we're going to have another World of Warcraft, or I think that the
And
communities-
I personally think that's better. Like, I think it's better that we're bouncing around different MMOs than just playing one game. Like, I really think that's so much better, you know, as a gamer.
probably going to remain fractured for many years, and we're going to be kind of split between various different good or great quality games. Like, what, there are a million and a half people that play Final Fantasy 14. There are millions that play WoW. There are, I think Guild Wars 2 was tracking in at a couple million when they launched the End of Dragons expansion. So people flock to the quality, the popular titles that they know are going to be good, or that have been proven to be good. So I feel like, yeah, there might be other games that might end up breaking out into the scene and maybe garnering a large population, kind of like Lost Ark did for a while. But I don't think still that, you know, we're going to see another WoW or anything like that.
It's hard to have like that same type of solidarity that people had back in the day, because it's just the way that people play video games is totally different now. Like everything is totally different versus like what it used to be.
That's
Shopee
true.
free shipping!
Sa Shopee, may
I'm gonna mute this. So yeah, that's true what Asmon said, like at the very last moment. Another big factor is how we perceive video games now these days, and how we act towards them. Like, we're so much better at video games, and we're so much more aware that, you know, a lot of things that didn't matter before, like, matter so much right now. So like, that's the thing. So it's not really, you know, it's mostly, I mean, a part of it is because our perception of video games have changed, and how we have matured, as human beings as well. So my final thoughts. I don't think I don't think MMOs are dead. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I think MMOs have been popping lately. MMOs have died out in popularity during the battle royale boom, because like during that era there was just no good MMOs, no new good MMOs coming out. It was mostly battle royales, but the battle royale era is dying down finally, thank God, and I think the MMO era is starting to go up again. And so I'm really excited for that. Also, this video really changed my perspective on mobile games in general. So like Asmon does have a point. It doesn't mobile games don't necessarily make a game bad, the same way that I believe that pay to win doesn't necessarily make a game bad. So I might be more open to playing more mobile games now. Could be gacha games, but I don't know. I'm not gonna promise you on the gacha games part, but maybe mobile games that don't have like gacha mechanics, maybe I will start playing those. So that's it for now. It was a really insightful video. Like, I'm also excited to I kind of also want to like hear what you guys think. I want to hear your thoughts, so comment down below and let me know what you think. So I'm gonna link this video in the description. Give Mr. Sticks, give MMO Bite a like and a subscribe. So I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Otskuro. Bye bye.